Hey guys, y'all already know it is Thankful Thursdays. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, y'all already know I'm gonna add more to it. And I know you heard me the first time. I come to you each and every Thursday with excitement, because guess what? We have the activities of our limbs. You ain't walking around with no prosthetic arms or legs, and if you are, thank God your insurance covered it so that you can get it. We have the activities of our right mind. We ain't in nobody's hospital, and we ain't in nobody's jail. And if you know somebody that's in the hospital, we're praying right now for their speedy recovery and for their protection. But I wanted to come to you guys to talk, because you know every week y'all already know, yeah, I said it. Okay? What I say? Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. You know, you got to do the clap with it. I'm going to add more to it. But I'm your host, Zsa Zsa Hubbard, and I just ask that you follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and share this video. Today, I am talking to you guys about, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? And I know you're thinking, oh my goodness, girl, ain't nobody got time to be talking about no religion. I ain't talking about no religion. I'm talking about relationship. See, it's a difference between a person that is religious. They are constantly going to church. They constantly going to Bible study. They constantly in somebody's church house, but they ain't got no relationship at all. And that's just like somebody that lives in your house. They live in your house. They eat your food. They use your bathroom. They use your washing machine and dryer, but there's no relationship. Have you ever had a person that you were connected to, that you lived with, and there was no relationship? They were just there. You were there, they were there, and y'all was just there. That's just like a lot of marriages fail, because you end up not marrying the right person, and y'all just end up cohabitating together, and there's no relationship. When you have a relationship with something or someone, it has its up and downs, but for the most part, you're always looking to strengthen that relationship. Whether you're a father with a daughter, or a father with a son, or a mother with a son or daughter, or a husband and a wife, or a girlfriend and a boyfriend, you know, when you value those relationships, you want to strengthen those relationships. You want to find out what the other person likes, what they don't like, what they love, what they don't love, because you value that relationship, right? So if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, y'all already know. Before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about, are you in good hands? You know, when I was younger, one of the things that I've definitely always believed in is, when you protect your kids, you protect your future. When we protect our children, we protect our future. You know, I always commend parents who go over and beyond for their children, not because the courts make them, not because they feel guilty and they don't want to look like a bad parent in front of, you know, the masses or the people to front and stunt. But I commend those parents who actually do their due diligence to ensure that their children are being taken care of. And I'm here to talk to you guys about, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? See, the thing that I love about my relationship with God is the fact that I no longer am dependent upon people. Yes, you do need people to purchase things from you, partner with you, do business with you, but the ultimate relationship that you need to have is with God, because He will maneuver the right people in your path. Because there were times where I thought I needed certain people, you know, because they had accolades and a big title to their name, and I thought, you know, in order for me to become who I needed to be, I needed to hook up with them. You know, that was the man. You know, I got to hook up with them because they the ones that they got everything under control. Or I need to meet with her because, you know, she the one that's popping out here in these streets. And it wasn't even about that. And sometimes we can put our lives, our ideas, our relationships, our children in other people's hands, and they will not take care of those things that belong to you and I like they would if they were you. Have you ever known a person to have a baby and let anybody hold their baby? No. So you shouldn't do that with your life. Don't be sitting up here, meeting somebody, and then next thing you know, that's your boyfriend or your mate, or they watching your kids, and you know, you done let your boyfriend come over, and now you going to work, and your teenage or preteen daughter or toddler daughter or son, now they complaining about their private parts hurt, and you ain't thinking nothing of it because, you got a boyfriend, or you got a girlfriend, and you ain't thinking about, did I leave my child or my children in the right hands? did I leave my life in good hands? Because, you know, I've had some situations where, you know, my mom, you know, and our parents see things that we don't see. For those of you who have good parents, I don't know. Some of y'all didn't have good parents, and I feel bad for you. And you've had to go reach out to the streets or to other people to get good parenting. But I was grateful that my mama was nosy. I was grateful, you know, now that I'm grown. When I was a teenager, I'm like, Mom, why you going through my diary? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this my diary. You know, why you going through my diary? This is my stuff, you know? Like, why you going through my stuff? You know what I'm saying? And I used to be like, you know, like, Mom, like, you bold in a mug. Like, you just gonna go through my diary? This is my private thoughts. But my mom was a mother that was nosy. Excuse me, guys. You know, my eyes be watering. I got these old funky little allergies. I ain't take my tablespoon of honey. You take your unfiltered tablespoon of honey, and it helps with your allergies, y'all. I'm telling you. But my mom, I betrayed my mother. I betrayed my mother as a teenager because my mother saw something in the situation that I did not see. And sometimes our parents will see certain things with friends, lovers, and business things that we don't see. Now, there are some things that our parents were not equipped to be with or handle, like technology, the way it is right now. A lot of our parents are not tech savvy, so they don't know what the heck going on. And we find ourselves teaching our parents. But there was a time where my mom, she saw something in someone that I wanted to pursue and that wanted to pursue me. And she saw the heartache that I was going to have. She saw the depression and the frustration that was going to be attached to this individual. But because I was too blinded to see what was actually happening, here it is now I'm putting my life in somebody else's hands. When my mother, I should have left my life in my mother's hands. And so when you have teenage girls and teenage boys and they end up liking somebody and falling in love, and you don't particularly like that individual, or you don't really see where that's going to go, we sometimes don't have that communication to say, hey, I see something that you don't see. And see, my mom, she was more like, do what I say, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? There was not a lot of dialogue with my mother. So I was quite rebellious at times. I always kept good grades and always did what I was supposed to do. But when it came to stuff that I wanted, I became rebellious because I wanted to live my own life, you know? And sometimes when you want to live your own life, you go against what your parents want you to do. Like, there are times where in other cultures, they have weddings set up already before the child even gets the opportunity to say whether or not they want to date so-and-so or this person. They have already planned and pre-planned who they're going to get to marry their son or their daughter. And so the question that I ask you, if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about, are you in good hands? Are you in good hands? Because my mom knew that I wasn't supposed to be with my son's father. She knew it. She knew all of the drama that was going to come, that was going to be connected. And boy, was it drama. I'm telling you, y'all will know about it real soon. Don't worry. But the thing about it is that when we protect our kids, we protect our future. And the thing about it is that we can't get shocked when we hear on the news about all of the new celebrities that are coming out, a part of the human trafficking scandal, and all of these affluential people who are now being investigated because of a ring of lifestyles. Let me tell you something. There are some freaky bastards out there, and they have fetishes for all kinds of disgusting things. Now, it's one thing for a man to have a feet fetish, or, you know, a shoe fetish, but when you have a little kid fetish, that's sickening. That's disgusting. There are people, men and women, that are so freaked out and so freaky to the point where they are no longer even seduced or attracted to adults. They want a kid, a child, your child. It's somebody that's been looking at your child. And the thing about it is that I had a little, well, not had, but I have a little sister, and she's very voluptuous. And she's been voluptuous since she was a little kid. She's been stacked since she was a little kid. And I was always conscientious of the guys that I dated because I didn't want them looking at my little sister. Now, I had me some, I had some boobs and a little cute little figure, and, I still do. But at that time, my sister, she was like, boom, pow, pow. And she's a little kid. And so there are men that, if you ever watch, you got to watch these men sometimes. I'll sit and they don't see me looking at them because I'll be watching y'all. The Bible says watch as well as pray. Okay? And I'll be watching. There are times where I'll be in a store and I'll see, little kids or women or whoever come in, and I'll watch how other people watch them. Because there are some things that run through people's mind. You know how crazy you think. So just imagine somebody that you don't know, what they're thinking about and the trauma that they've been through. See, a lot of times we have certain situations that are repeat traumas and repeat situations in life where people are repeating the hardships and the generational curses that we have gone through. They are dealing with sexual molestation or rape within families. The uncle didn't rape the niece, and the auntie didn't want to say nothing, or the mama didn't believe her, or all of these different type of things. And here it is, we have Jeffrey Epstein and a plethora of other celebrities and politicians who are caught up in this scandal. First of all, this is what they like. This is what they've come to love. It's like a person who comes to like, Cheerios or Fruit Loops. Once you get a taste of it, it becomes something that you always want to be a part of or have. It's like a person who gets a hit of crack, and now they can't get off crack because it just make them feel so good, and it make them feel like they ain't never felt before. Because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't have all of these Hollywood child stars. All of these Hollywood child stars. All of these Hollywood child stars who have been affected by alcoholism, drug abuse. They've been affected by all of these things. And I'm going to tell you something. Hollywood is going to hell in a handbasket. And I'm so grateful Tyler Perry got his own studio. Shout out to Tyler Perry, because even he had to deal with molestation and all of the trauma that came along with being a child. And see, right now we're dealing with a pandemic. Our children can't be with their friends. Just imagine you have your children and you probably get sick and tired of them and they get on your nerves. But can you imagine a household with children where there's a molester in the household, an alcoholic in the household, a drug abuser in the household? There are children that are going through some real tragic things right now. And so we got to make sure that we are paying attention. We are paying attention to not only our children, because some of us are so laxed with our own children. I remember there was a time where, and it ain't no shade, but yeah, I said it. Y'all already know. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. It's been recent stories where there have been adults that have been in certain positions and they call themselves trying to kick it with or date kids. I remember there was a story years ago about Charles Pugh, supposed to be a mentor, and he's having a whole relationship with a teenager. Where they do that at? What can you get from a teenager? First of all, it's some women, some young men, some young girls that are out here that are adults that look like young and petite kids. Go get one of them. Why you gotta go mess with a little boy or a little girl? You just that nasty and that trifling. And see, some people don't want to talk about certain things like this because it starts opening up wounds and starts unveiling things that they don't want to talk about. And that is one of the issues, because there are there are curses that are brought upon families because we don't want to discuss it. We want to brush it under the rug. We want to act like it didn't exist. And then next thing you know, you got trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. And aunties is feuding with nieces, and nieces is feuding with uncles because we didn't resolve and nip things in the butt as it was happening. And see, the thing about with human trafficking, it ain't stopped. COVID has come into play to stop elections, to money launder. Yeah, some people have died in the process of this, but that's because you have to look at people that are in powerful positions. They look at you and I as casualties. They look at you and I as they are the big Bugs. Y'all got kids. So did y'all see the movie Bugs? So you had the little ants, which are the workers, and then you had those, I don't know what were they, cockroaches or bees or beetles or whatever. I don't know what kind of bugs they were, but they flew in and they would make sure that the ants had the harvest for them while they go out and party and play and do their thing. And they wanted the ants. They would make sure that the ants, it's a little kid movie. It's called A Bug's Life. You need to go watch it. Every child movie has a subliminal message if you really pay attention to it. But in this movie, they said that these ants were casualties. They were nothing. They were peons. And you got to think about certain people that are in leadership positions. They don't look at you as a black mother or a black father or a brown girl or a brown boy or a single parent or someone who is trying to make ends meet. They look at you as a casualty. When they think about the damage that they are going to do in certain phases of society, they don't look at you as a woman trying to build for their family or a black business owner. They look at you as a number. They look at you as a casualty. And the thing about that is that back in the day, in the 50s and the 60s, when we finally had a bit of freedom, we were building communities. We were building substantial, stable communities, buildings, businesses where we could learn to depend and trust on each other. But if you got an Uncle Chester that's messing with little boys and you know about it, you are just as guilty as Chester is. You are just as trifling if you know that certain people, even with the movie, I know y'all seen Antoine Fisher, little boy, angry, grew up to be an angry man. And like I told y'all earlier this week, when the man at the post office was going off on the old lady, all I could hear with that man's voice was trauma, hurt, frustration, anger, pent up aggression. And so many of our black men have been physically touched, abused. They won't say it because they don't want to look like a punk. They don't want to look like, they gay or something happened to them. They don't want to seem as if, somebody got the best of them. They don't want to look as if, they ain't been through nothing. So they put on this exterior outer core of hardness. And it's the same thing with women. They become so, they tuck that memory at the bottom of their brain not to disclose it or open it up ever again because they don't want to deal with the reality of something actually happened to them and something is actually affecting them. And they don't want to talk about how it broke them and how they had to learn to rebuild. And now they can't have a genuine good relationship because they don't trust men and they can't value the real men in their lives because of the trauma and the abuse that they've dealt with. And so now every time they meet a man, they trying to figure out what's his angle. The minute that he do something odd or weird or out of order or character, they want to exit stage left. But because they have not healed from those past hurts and trauma that they're dealing with, they can't move forward with genuine good relationships. And it's the same with friendships. It's the same with being a parent. It's the same with being a business partner. When you have not been in good hands, and if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm your host, Zsa Zsa Hubbard. Make sure you follow me on Facebook. Make sure you share this video because you sharing this video is going to save somebody's life. It's going to heal them from that trauma. It's going to heal them from those generational curses that black people, not just Chaldeans, not just Mexican, but white folks too. It's a lot of rich white folks that have dealt with trauma that they can't get rid of because they have money. And they're money hungry and they're money greedy. And they just picking at everything. Think about R. Kelly. Think about Bill Cosby. Think about Michael Jackson. They threw them black men under the bus for the same thing that these white folks that's been doing for years. Y'all don't remember how Massa would go to the cabin and go get Kizzy or go get whatever woman he wanted to go sleep with for the night and rape her, and she got to go back to her husband. Got to go back to her husband in the cabin after Massa didn't lay his little seeds all on her. Don't let her end up pregnant with a mulatto baby, mixed little baby, biracial baby. Because you know that Massa wife is going to make sure that that baby gets sold or killed. So this is not trauma that's new. This is historical trauma. Generations after generations of dealing with undealt with trauma. And I'm talking today about, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? Because a lot of us, we trust our kids with teachers and mentors and coaches. Oh, that's my son's coach. Oh, they gave him a ride. My mama didn't play that. I ran track, y'all. I ran track. I ran cross country. I did indoor, outdoor track and cross country. I was a mid-distance and long-distance runner. And I had all men coaches. Coach Derek, Coach Thomas, Coach Ferg. Those were our top 3 coaches. And I'm going to tell you something. One thing's for sure, 2 things for certain. My mama did not play. My mama wanted to know their name, where they live, their phone number, were they married, did they have kids? And the thing about it is that I am so grateful to God. When I tell you I'm grateful, because I heard about things that happened with other coaches at other schools, but at McKenzie, we didn't have that issue. Now, we had some teacher-on-teacher issues, but we ain't had we did have one teacher that liked the student. But that's nor here nor there. That was some old weirdo stuff, because she was a young teacher and he was 17 turning 18, and they thought they could do whatever on the low. But you know, everything that's done in the dark comes to the light. You can only sneak for so long, okay? You could only sneak for so long that when you think that you done sneaking, somebody done seen you, okay? Somebody done. And the way we live right now, everybody got them phones out. So you might want to be careful while y'all here sneaking and creeping, because everything that's done in the dark comes to the light. And my mama would always say, if they don't catch you in the wash, they'll catch you in the rinse. And the thing about it is that when they threw Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, they threw them all under the bus for their old freaky behavior and dealing with, roofing and all that stuff like that when it came to sexual encounters. And the thing about it is, if you don't think that there are sex demons, you are tripping. There are sex demons. There are things that will happen to you and you cannot get it out of your head. There are feelings that will happen to you and you cannot remove that feeling. It's like you have become seduced by whatever spirit was on that person. When they talk about sexual spirits, and when you get connected, when a penis enters a vagina, a butthole, a mouth, or whatever, you have now intertwined 2 body fluids and 2 spirits that are connected, and they intertwine, and they got all type of things going on. And now you start feeling like watching certain things that you ain't never wanted to watch before, but because this is in this other person's spirit, now it's in your spirit. I was watching, a lot of the childhood stars, and they didn't start off doing cocaine or crack or becoming alcoholics. Those became habits that were now in their DNA. They became habits that were now a part of their environment. I was listening to a call the other day. I was with one of my friends, and his niece called, and she was saying how she needed to get a lift because she needed to get away from her mama. Now, her mama is a crackhead. And because her mama's a crackhead, guess what happened to her? She ended up on crack. She's trying to get her life together. But see, when you around demonic spirits that are suffering, and they have not dealt with their trauma, they have not dealt with their issues, they have not dealt with their insecurities, guess what they gonna do? They gonna put them on their children. daughters grow up and they're beautiful. But the mama, she didn't got messed all up. So then she dogged the daughter. Oh, you ain't pretty. Oh, you out here hoeing. Oh, you out here, you fast. You think you're doing this, you're doing that. Or it'll be, now I'm going to pull you into my world. I'm going to utilize you as a pawn. And see, we have got to get out of the place where we are utilizing our children as pawns. You know, there are situations where, you know, politicians and mentors and people in high powerful places have used our children as props to make them look good. But they had no good intentions of protecting our children. There ain't no way in hell. Yeah, I said hell because hell in the Bible. H-E double hockey sticks. There ain't no way in hell. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. That they should be trying to figure out if our children should go to school 3 weeks before school's supposed to start. If COVID came out in October, half of the population started dying in March and April. There should have been emergency calls, meetings to figure out how are we going to orchestrate school come the fall. Not wait until the damn near August to figure out, okay, let's put out a survey to see if we want to have the kids go back to school. Our children, again, are we in good hands? Are we in good hands? This is when you separate true shepherds from the herd. This is when you figure out, are these people in leadership actually leading us to the land of milk and honey, glorious prosperity lifestyles, or are they leading us over a cliff? Are they leading our children over a cliff? There is no way in hell that our children shouldn't even be equipped to not know about virtual learning. So many other school districts across the country, including the great state of Michigan and other Oakland County, Macomb County, Genesee County, all these other counties have already been equipped for the transition of hybrid and virtual learning. But little black, little brown kids in Detroit, where it's predominantly African American, where we have predominantly African American leadership, why the hell aren't we allowing our children and our families a better opportunity? You know why? Because when you put your life in somebody else's hands that don't care or half-ass care, they're going to do half-ass work. They're going to do half due diligence. See, when I was a child, my mom didn't allow us to be watched by everybody. She wasn't allowing people to run up and through her house. Anybody that knows my mama and grew up with us, they knew it wasn't going to be a bunch of men running in and out of my mama's house. My mama didn't have a bunch of girlfriends and quote-unquote friends coming in and over their house and sitting up in her house and drinking and partying all in her house while she got kids. See, none of that was happening. Yeah, she had social gatherings, and yes, she had events and where people came over to congregate, but all of that, having people sitting up in your house and having a bunch of men all up and through your house, some of y'all need to get some self-control. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? Because when you are in other people's hands, they can be very lackadaisical with your life, very callous with your life. They'll do the bare minimum and expect the maximum effort. That's just like when you have a relationship and you with a man and you doing everything for that man, and you cooking, ladies, and you cleaning, and you looking good, and you smelling good, and the kids is clean, and the house is right, and he come in and he ain't said, you look nice, thank you for the meal, oh, these are my children, I have a blessed household. He ain't making sure he put a little money in your pocket with a little allowance. He ain't making sure your car clean, got gas. He ain't making sure the bills is paid. See, you don't want to be attached to people that give you minimum effort and expect maximum results. It don't work that way. You want people to give you maximum effort for your maximum results. You want to be in equally yoked relationships. I tell my son right now, he's finishing up his summer school. You wouldn't have to go to summer school if you was giving maximum results when you had the opportunity to give maximum results. But when you give minimum results, you can't expect to get A's and B's when you have D and F lifestyles. You can't expect for a man to treat you like a queen, but you out here acting like a thought. It don't work that way unless he's attracted to thoughts. Then y'all have a thoughtful family. It works out. If that's what you want to do, listen. Whatever floats your boat, boo. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain, is that you have minimum effort in expecting maximum results. And see, the thing about it is that there are so many people who have not dealt with or healed from the trauma of their past, of being molested, of being dealing with poverty, or dealing with, rape, or dealing with certain things of that nature. And here it is. We have a mother or a father or aunt or uncle who have not dealt with their trauma. And guess what they do? They seek out people or children or the next generation that they can infiltrate. I'm big on relationship. I'm not big on religion, because religion can fade away. People can change their religion like they change their draws every other day. But one thing's for sure, two things for certain, is that you strengthen relationships. You can't strengthen religion, you strengthen relationships. And my relationship with God allows me to understand that people are out here vengeful. They are vengeful. They don't want your children, your little boys and girls, to have a successful future because they didn't have one. They don't want your children or you to have a better opportunity to succeed because they didn't succeed. They didn't see a way out. They didn't see the tunnel, the light in the dark tunnel. They couldn't see beyond their nose. And see, that's what happens when you're around people who don't have vision. When you're around people who don't have vision, they end up stealing your vision. That's why I'm always conscientious about how I treat people, how I treat our children, how I treat people that are the least of these, because you never know what opportunities will present themselves with a very person that you treat like they ain't nothing will end up becoming somebody. And see, the thing about it is when you are so laxed and so callous with your family and with the children, you become responsible with that burden. When my mom died, before she died, she said, Zsa Zsa, protect Marshawn. That's my baby sister, Nunu. She's the baby out of all of us. She said, protect Marshawn. Y'all please look out for Marshawn. Y'all please just protect her. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I got more responsibilities on me than I even need. But it was because my mother knew. She knew that there's people out here in this world that don't care nothing about you or your children or your family. And they will use you. They will abuse you. They will take your information, your social security number, your kid's social security number, and run up a check and won't think twice about it. They will put themselves in a position to win, and you still be eating out of a can while they sit up here eating filet mignon and steak. Now, I'm not saying that some people don't do certain things because they have to out of the need, but you got to understand, there are people that utilize certain people as pawns. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to, yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, y'all already know I'm going to add more to it. I'm talking about, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? Because when you're in God's hands, he won't fail you. He won't let you down. His hands is big enough to handle all of us. But see, there are some people that you put certain things in their hands and they drop the ball. They will drop the ball. And then you're upset, you sad, you mad because they didn't take care of you like you would have taken care of them. They didn't watch your child like you would have watched theirs. I remember there was a situation that happened at my son's grandmother's house. And I was very, very comfortable with leaving my son with his grandmother and his grandparents. Now, at this particular time, his grandfather had passed away. So that left him being over there with his grandmother. And I had to get into her. I said, how are you watching my son if you in the back room with the door closed? Come on, somebody. How are you seeing what's happening in the front yard, in the backyard, and my son down the street when he was younger if you in the back room on the phone with Betty and Betsy now? No, I need you to be watching and paying attention. No, I don't need you talking about, well, I did come out there. Anything could happen to our children in a blink of an eye. In a blink of an eye. A van will pull up, your kids outside playing, and you thinking, oh, they okay, they down the street. And next thing you know, a kid then got kidnapped and snatched, and you trying to figure out, oh my God, how did this happen? Blah, blah, blah. It's the same way. It's the same way how COVID has snuck up in here. Next thing you know, you thinking you at the family barbecue and you kicking it with Auntie Nim and you laughing and ha, ha, ha. Y'all done did the hustle. Y'all done ate good. Next thing you know, you coughing. Now you got COVID. Because you got to make sure, are you in good hands? And at the end of the day, nobody's going to protect you and your family like you are. Nobody is going to cover you like you are. There are some people that I have allowed my heart to be put into their hands, and they broke my heart. They broke my heart. Whether it was a platonic relationship, whether it was a friendship, and I was just like, dang. And it was because I gave them my heart. I thought they wouldn't do that to me. They wouldn't betray me. They wouldn't cross me. They wouldn't do that. And see, because I've grown up in media and politics, I've seen how people can play the role to get you to trust them, to will you in. I never forget, I met this guy, and he was telling me like, yeah, I can get you into the home buyer program, and you know the Obama program for first-time home buyers, and I'm gonna help you with this, that, and the third, and here it is. I see he got him a GT Mercedes-Benz truck, and he doing this thing, and I'm young. I'm 21 with a baby, ready to get out of my mama house, and I'm looking. He has what seems to be, right, ladies and gentlemen, what seems to be an individual who is quite successful. And he's telling me, and he's knowledgeable, and because I'm who I am, I'm Googling the information, and the information is checking out, right? So I'm thinking, okay, sure. I'm going to give you my information. I'm trusting you that you're going to help me get this house. He done showed me the house. I done said I like it. I done gave him the information, filled out the application, all these things, right? Do you know, I called him a couple weeks go by and I hadn't heard anything. And I'm like, hadn't heard anything. I'm calling, phone going straight to voicemail. Go up to the office that he done took me to with his assistant. Found out his assistant was his girlfriend. So she in the role. She playing the role right along with him. Scheming and scamming. They taking people's identity, getting the first-time home buyer loan, cashing out, and then left me with the debt. Not only do I don't have a house, but now I got debt that I ain't even did nothing. This ain't even nothing that I didn't deal with. But see, it was the thing that I was so trusting to somebody, and I put my heart in their hands thinking that they were going to look out for me. And that's why you got to be careful of these crabs in a bucket, people who say, oh, I'm so excited for your success, and I'm so happy for you, and you doing your thing. Listen, I take those compliments as a grain of salt. Thank you. I appreciate it. Power to the people. But see, you have to be mindful, because everybody that will commend you and everybody that will give you those accolades will be the same people that will wait for your downfall. Those will be the same people that will say, oh, yeah, I knew she wasn't going to do that, or I knew she wasn't about nothing. Same way they did Jesus. They told Jesus, 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 Jesus. The same people that was shouting out, he the man with the master plan, turned around and was like, man, kill him. Crucify him. Take him out of here. And it's the same way. Usually betrayal always comes from the people that are closest to you. You don't really get offended when a stranger calls you ugly. But if your mama, or auntie, or best friend, or close friend, or lover, or child betrays you, that hurts. That hurts. It's not the strangers and the people that you ain't really cool with that hurts. It's the people that are close to you when it hurts. And that's why you got to be mindful. If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. We're talking about, are you in good hands? Because, I watched the commercial, the Allstate commercial, and the man, he comes out there like, are you in good hands? Allstate hands. And I always think about how people are so trusting with thinking that people actually cover them and have their best interests at heart. That's why when you do have people that actually show that they got your back and they actually show and prove, but you still got to walk a fine line with that as well, because everybody ain't who they say they are. And there are a lot of people that are good at playing the role. They have perfected the role. They know how to treat a woman. They know how to open the doors. They know how to say the right things. They have studied women. So then they let your guard down. And now you're thinking you in love because this man has shown you all of the potential things that you think you want. And see, I talk to a lot of my ladies of excellence, my mentor group, and a lot of those young ladies, I'm so super proud of them because I have not lost one. I have not lost one. I said the only one that I've lost is one of my girls, Kiara, and I lost her to death. That's the only one. But all of my young girls, all of my girls, they are all amazing young women out here doing their due diligence, and they're talented, and they are out here killing the game because I let these young ladies know. I never had a daughter. I always had a son, so I had to be a little more rougher with him and a lot more raw with him, but I was just as raw with those young ladies because I never wanted them to have the biblical word of God and not have street smarts, because there are a lot of young ladies out here, oh, they so pretty, they so smart, but they don't have no street smarts. And so when a guy comes into play, they not equipped to handle it. And I tell my son the same thing. You got to be ready, because there are some women out here, they going to be trying to maneuver you and run some game on you, and you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready when they come out here trying to play these games, because at the end of the day, they trying to get money, power. They trying to get ahead of the game. And so they'll utilize people as pawns to get the very thing that they want out of life. And see, the thing about it is that, you know, when you become a parent, you got to develop a strong skin, armadillo skin. Because as a parent, there are going to be times where your children are going to upset you so much. You're going to look at them kids and be like, who gave you to me? Like, where did you come from? And, you know, I often listen to, you know, women and men that are single without children. And they like, oh, I want some family. And I want some kids. And I chuckle to myself. And I think y'all have no idea what you're praying and asking for. You have no idea, because sometimes we will pray and ask God for things that we really aren't ready for. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to give you your heart's desire. It just means that he wants you to toughen up a little bit. He wants you to get a little bit more armadillo skin. Some of y'all will cry at the drop of a dime. Some of y'all will be frustrated, hurt. Some of y'all will go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I remember the first time my son, he caught himself puffing up at me. I almost spazzed out. I remember the first time I seen my brothers disrespect my mother. I remember the first time my mama slapped me and called me a bitch because I had got out of line. But it's being a parent, being a wife, a husband, being a teacher, a mentor, a coach. Is more than just having a title. You become responsible. You become that shepherd of those people who you are now governing yourselves over. And see, that's why you got to look at people's track record. You know, there are people they have ran for office, and there are people that are getting ready to run for office. And my thing is this: if you are a repeat politician and you failed your people already, there was no successful track record, you didn't do anything to change the situation, actually you are a part of the problem, you don't need to be voted for again. You need to go have several seats and reevaluate your life. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. There are people that will hop from one position to the next position thinking that they are going to help a certain situation, and all you're doing is looking for more political power, or all you're doing is looking to have a title and get back in good graces of the people. But if you failed the people once, you'll fail the people again. And at the end of the day, you got to be mindful. Am I in good hands? What makes this person's, what makes them have true validity? What makes them have a true discretion that they are going to protect me and mine? We oftentimes put our love and trust in people. And if you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, make sure you share this video. We're talking about, are you in good hands? Most of the time we think that parenting is just, oh, I'm gonna put my baby on some cute clothes, and that baby turns into a toddler, that turns into an adolescent, that turns into a teen, that turns into a young adult. And at the end of the day, all of that little cute stuff that they used to do goes out the window. And so you have to be mindful. As a parent, I ask my son all type of questions. I'm nosy. I'm all up and through his Snapchat. I'm all up and through his Instagram. I'm all up and through his text messages because I want to know what's going on. And see, sometimes we become so callous and comfortable with putting the iPad in front of our children, or allowing our children to go down the street or go off with Uncle so-and-so and Auntie so-and-so and spend a night over here. You know, my mom, you know, the fact that I had 3 male coaches and I ran track, and we oftentimes got on the road and would come back late, or we would, you know, we would have to spend a night out in other cities and other states like Kentucky. My mom did not play. She wanted validation from other parents that these coaches were who they say they were. And this is the thing. As a child, that's why you got to have a conversation with your children as early as possible, because you don't ever want your children to face some of the trauma and dilemmas that you have faced as a child, and then they don't want to tell you what's going on with them because of fear. Because this person has made promises or said, you know, if you tell, you know, I'm going to hurt your mama or your daddy, or it's the mama boyfriend or the daddy's girlfriend or the auntie or the uncle or the granddad or the cousin or the friend of the family who is demonic with these nasty trifling spirits. And here it is, now your child has had to face some of the things that you have had to face, but because did nobody tell, because nobody made a big deal, now you are subject to your child or your children or some other kids or family members that you love. Now they are potentially in harm's way. And who really has time for that? Nobody. If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, I'm talking about, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? Because see, the thing about it is that when you're in good hands, you're going to make sure that you eat right, you live right. They're not going to bring no drama your way. When you in good hands, they're going to be loyal. They're going to support you. They're going to provide and give you the best that they have. If they got a shirt and you cold, guess what? They're going to give you an extra shirt. But that's only if you in good hands. See, when you in good hands, people are going to treat you as such. People are going to love on you as such. People are going to provide and protect you as such because you're giving that. I told you, people want to get maximum results with minimum effort. They want to give you just enough to stay around, but they don't want to give you everything that you've given them. Even in friendships, you call and making sure they okay. They don't even know your kids' names. They don't even know when your birthday is. They don't even know that your mama in the hospital. Like, when you think about it, and you think about all the people that you are connected to, all the people that you call your quote-unquote friends, and you think about it, and you think about, are these people really genuinely loyal to me? Or have I just been genuinely loyal to them? Have they really stuck their neck out for me and been a good friend? Or are they just around because of me maneuvering through life? Or it makes them feel better? Because some people are connected to you because of where you are in life, and it makes them feel better about themselves. So like, for instance, if you still live with your mom and daddy, and you got friends that are out on their own, they don't want to get no friends that actually got their own, because they would rather have friends that don't have their own, because it makes them feel good about themselves being the friend that has their life together. You have to be mindful of people like that. People like that only stay around because you make them look good. You got to be mindful of that. Yeah, I said it. Y'all already know. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. There are people in political power that will intentionally sabotage things to make themselves look good. Just like these contracts and all this construction that's going on. How many times they gonna fix 75 freeway? I feel like every year they fixing I-75. You know why? Because there are certain contracts They go to certain companies where they scratch certain people's backs, and then guess what? They get that contract, they go subcontract it out. I get an $80 million contract, I go subcontract it out for $30 million. Guess what? I got $50 million in my pocket. Same thing that they put Kwame Kilpatrick in jail for, in prison, amongst other things. But because he was doing this, white folks been doing it for years. And if we're not careful, we will end up allowing the wolf to just peruse through our communities, tear up our communities, not think twice about it, because guess what? We're just allowing ourselves to be placed in their hands. Oh, well, we got to do what they say do. Oh, right now, y'all should be learning how to do urban farming, how to grow your own food. Because if they're saying a second wave is coming, and here it is, we got animals, mammals, all type of things that are being injected with antibodies and injected with steroids and all of these different things. This is the time now where you should be trying to gain as much knowledge for you and your family as possible. And you can't be scary and not allow your child to grow up and step out on their own. Because at the end of the day, if you leave tomorrow, do you have life insurance? Have you set up a situation for your children to be sustained? Do you have people in place where your child can go in the event that you end up with COVID? Are you in good hands? See, while you out here having you a good old time, smoking your little squares, drinking your little drink, having you a good old merry old time, trying to enjoy your summer, I ain't tripping. I ain't tripping. I ain't hating on nobody. I ain't got a heaven and hell to put you in. Do you? But I also want you to think about, are you in good hands? Do you have people that you can depend on in the event that some stuff go down and you need to get away, or you need to be protected, or you need to get some extra money, or your child or children need to go somewhere? Right now, it's a parent survey for the schools that need to be filled out. It's only 2 questions. You log in into your child's account. You get their ID number for their school. You get they password is their birth date and they initials or their name, and I think it's 1 or 2 if they're a boy or a girl, and you fill out this survey. I know DPS been calling y'all because, hell, they've been calling me all day, every day. I feel like I be thinking somebody really calling me and it be them. So you need to fill out these surveys so that they can have an idea, which I think is absolutely absurd. This survey should have went out in April. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. But it's better now than never. But at the end of the day, are our children in good hands? Because even in the event that they do virtual learning, hybrid learning, where they go to school a couple days, they do the rest online, do they have a home environment that is conducive to them even being able to learn? Some children go to school to get away from their house. I know I did. And it wasn't because my home environment wasn't safe or it wasn't a great place to live, because it was. It was because I didn't want to watch all my brothers and sisters. So I was always involved in an after-school activity, volunteering to do something, just so I did not have to be at home. And some of you parents have made your oldest child another parent, and you don't even realize it. Or some of you parents have babied your children to the point where they can't even grow up and really stand on their own 2 feet. My son already know I don't even play no games. I don't hold him up. You're going to have to do this on your own, my brother. Power to the people. You're going to have to figure this one out on your own. No, utilize your resources. If you utilize all of your resources and you have no choice but to come to me, then I'll extend that invitation to support you. Because after you graduate from high school, you go off to college, there are certain things in life that you are now going to have to deal with as a young man, and you ain't going to always have mama around. If I'm in another country speaking to the masses and you over here, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with this situation on your own. That's why I asked you the good question, are you in good hands? If you're tuning in, you're listening to Yeah, I Said It, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I'm your host, Zsa Zsa Hubbard. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, because these are really genuine questions. See, if you were in good hands when you were younger, or as a woman and as a man, then you would have never been heartbroken. Because the person who hurt you or the person who betrayed you or trespassed against you, they didn't have hands that could carry you. They didn't have hands that cared enough about you. They did the bare minimum to keep you around and expected you to give them maximum results. And now you're left to pick up the pieces of your life because they have hurt you so bad. See, one of the things that my ex-husband did was he helped me to toughen up my skin. When he betrayed me by going to marry another woman at the same church as me and turned around. And the thing about this was what threw me for a loop, because he said, we don't need to marry nobody from the same church so that we don't have no problems. This is what my ex-husband told me. So when he said that, and we both sat at dinner and we both agreed that we wouldn't date anybody from the same church. And this Negro turned around and married a woman at the same church as me, in the same ministry as me, connected to some of the same folks as me. Now, me and her wasn't like besties or friends, but we were cordial, we spoke. But I just thought that that was just so, why would you put a person in a weird, awkward position like that, where now they have to deal with that? But see, karma again has no expiration date, and now they in the same boat as me. Ain't nobody with nobody. Yeah, I said it, before I take it back, I'm gonna add more to it. You gotta be careful about putting your life in certain people's hands. And there are some things that some people have to learn by going through some of the experiences. But if you can protect your heart and protect your children from going through some of the disgruntled and horrible traumatic experiences that you have gone through, it is your due diligence to do so. When we protect our children, we protect our futures. When we protect our elders, we protect our history and our past. When we protect each other, we protect what's happening right now. So that way, when things get rough and things get tough, we can lean on one another. There are generations that just dropped the ball. They got theirs and they said, to hell with the rest of these generations, y'all figure it out. And it's unfortunate because over the weekend, I went to Idlewild, a historical city that was full of Black excellence. And it was so many rundown properties, property, land, lots for sale. Just like within the city of Detroit, so much property. Here it is, we have elected officials that allow our families to lose homes due to foreclosure and high taxes. And then you want to turn around and quote unquote put these last minute programs in when that should have been something you were doing in the beginning. Yeah, I said it. And before I take it back, and then when they run for office, they want us to re-elect them when you dropped the ball. You dropped the ball. You didn't care about these families that could barely make it. They could barely pay their rent, barely pay their mortgage. And here it is, a pandemic. And now they are running into these same issues and same obstructions, dealing with a whole health concern where people are dying due to lung and respiratory infections. And the thing about it is that COVID, not only does COVID damage with respiratory, but it leaves potential lasting ramifications. And see, when you understand how important your life is, what you do with your life, how you treat your life, then you will understand the power and importance of your offspring, everything that is connected to you. When my mom was dying on her deathbed, I found it to be my due diligence, my legacy, to make sure that my family was sustainable, that we were strong, that we stayed together. And some of you, you just let your family go. You ain't trying to fight for nothing. You just like, well, whatever happens, happens. Whatever will be, will be. No, where is the fight? We have gotten so lazy and lackadaisical and callous about our futures and about our lives. We just let anything happen. We let men come in and run in and out our lives and break our hearts. We let women run in and out our lives, spend all our money. Then you want to complain about not having none. We let the politicians and the powers that be do whatever they want to do within the community. And then we get mad at the results because we have allowed people to give us minimum efforts and expect maximum results. I want to ask you, are you in good hands or are you in God's hands? Are you dependent on the people that you see every day, or have you really got down on your knees and prayed and asked God to direct you, to protect you, to keep good people around you and your family? Because the minute that you let your guard down is the minute that the enemy comes in and devours everything that you have ever tried to build. You have to understand that our children are important, our families are important, and a good family, an empowered family needs to be powerful. They need to be powerful. They need to have that power. And I don't know what it is that you guys have been going through, but I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. Ask yourself, are the people that I'm connected to, am I in good hands when it comes to my livelihood? Am I in good hands when it comes to the future of my children? And if the answer is no, you need to find some new hands. Yeah, I said it, and before I take it back, I'm going to add more to it. I love y'all. Peace.